the question whether we have staff to staff another standing committee as opposed to creating an ad hoc group to deal with this that would meet briefly, whatever. But I think there's some concern we just don't have staff to establish another standing committee. I think it was a clear enough vote that given the hour, given that we're 55 minutes behind, I believe, at the moment, and only an hour left, this is going to be quite a trick.
Circling back around from the discussion this morning on comorbidities with the American Academy of Pediatrics, I had made a suggestion at that time to establish some type of subcommittee to work on the medical issues that face individuals with autism. And from what I'm hearing from the last discussion is that we don't have staff to be able to add another subcommittee. So I'm wondering if this can then turn into a planning group, because I'm not familiar with the structure, but it seems as though with the planning groups, you can bring in outside members that are not members of the IACC, which would be perfect to bring in people like Dr. Perrin and members of the ATN and some of the clinicians to work on these issues surrounding the medical conditions of children with autism. So I don't know, does that need a committee vote to be able to establish?
We do need a committee vote. I don't know if we have 15 people here. Do we have 15? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do we have 3 people on the phone?
Good.
But also, Susan, just to be clear on the safety, the group that we just established, that will also be a safety planning group, the one that we talked about earlier with the wandering and elopement.
The wandering and elopement was going to be covered by the Services Research and Policy Subcommittee, and that it will be a special meeting of that, and if they need to have multiple special meetings, but now it's on the agenda for that group to take that up.
Okay, because I was just going to say something that would be, I just don't know if everybody on that committee has an appetite for this issue, and it would be nice to bring in outside experts like the gentleman who was just here from the Department of Justice and the other gentleman, and I just don't know within the structure of an IACC subcommittee, can we bring in outside
You
members?
can bring in speakers and people. They can't vote, but you can bring in outside experts to inform the subcommittee.
Okay,
and,
thanks for that
other,
clarification.
Other members of the committee who want to come to that meeting can. I'm trying not to confuse the committee too much, but I have been starting to send out subcommittee notices and planning group notices even to people who aren't on those groups, because I noticed with this particular iteration of the committee, people seem to be interested in trying to attend meetings that they're not officially members of. And so trying to keep that straight, but also give you the opportunity to sit in on any meetings that you're interested in. And of course, all of our meetings are open to the public. Thanks. So I think so. Yeah, I think we can do round robin. So
No, we like people to stay if you're willing, because we can do the round robin without having to vote on it. But I think it's awfully nice at these meetings to be able to talk about. Sure. No, absolutely. No, to talk about what our organizations have been up to and other things in the autism world that we want to alert people to. So those of you who can stay a little longer, please do.
The meeting is scheduled to go on until 5:30, so I think it might be a nice idea if OARC were to instruct the travel agency that books people's travel to let them know that if they're a member of the committee, they're expected to stay for the entire length of the meeting. I think this is sad to look around this table and see all the people who are not here.
sure, we can give people that guidance. I guess we do tell them the timing of the meeting, but we also can't really restrict people if they have personal commitments they need to go to. We do hope that people can stay for the length of the meeting, and we've also been having the longer meetings to try to accommodate more of what the committee wants to hear. So, but
is there a reason why we can't have a 2-day meeting? I mean, it's like we have so much that has to be done, and we never get to actually discuss the public comments. We never actually get to discuss what we heard, except in little snippets here and there. And I just kind of always feel like I never got anything done. I came here, I got a lot of information, and I go home and I digest it all by myself. And we can't like have an email conversation because that's not FACA compliant. So I kind of think that we need more than a 1-day meeting.
There are new conference regulations that are extremely prohibitive, and Alan.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. I'm with the DOD.
To get a 2-day meeting, it has to be pretty important.
And the budget, because of sequestration.
I'm not saying that autism isn't important, but it has to come to an extremely high level to be approved.
I have two-day
and the
meetings
budget.
for peer review and programmatic review. I'm with the DOD. We've been underneath these travel restrictions for 2 years now.
Ours are different from yours, and I think it would be, my guess would be if we were to do that, we'd have to have 2-day meetings instead of 2 one-day meetings.
As well, and so we're trying our best to accommodate, and
Well, is there a way to decrease the number of people we're hearing from? I know we want to hear a lot of people and we want to do this, but I still feel as if we hear so much and nothing is done with the information. I just feel kind of, I feel like it's futile. I
If
think
the
that we need to
committee-
do, I think that if we had less in a day, then possibly we would get more done, actually.
Also, I think the issue is that when you look at the agenda, typically the IAC business is at the very end of the day, and so that's what gets cut. And so there's important things that come up during the day that we're then told, well, we'll discuss that at the end of the day during the IAC business, and then it's constantly short, and we don't get to really work together as a committee, and I think it makes us dysfunctional. And I know I personally feel very frustrated. I think the other problem is we have a disease that we're trying to address that affects, 1 in every 50 children, and we don't have the resources that on this committee to do this. We need a round-the-clock, full-time staff. To think that this committee with people who chair institutes can dedicate their time to this issue with 4 or 6 meetings a year just, is very impractical.
I think I want to go back to what Tom had mentioned earlier about how do we address the comment section and what ideas people have, because I think that has always left me feeling very ineffectual, and I leave here feeling yucky because people have spent a lot of time and effort and are clearly very invested and passionate about coming here and having a 3-minute voice.
And I have a 5 o'clock taxi pickup, and I see we've lost a lot of members. Is there anything we need to vote on that I should be present for before I leave?